Sunday, a couple weeks ago, took Porter to a hike at the Wind Cave. It would be his third time up here. Weather has been perfect, mid 70s, which always brings out the crowds. Some hikers are, of course, slower or faster than others, which means they must shuffle past one another while going up and down the narrow trail. This is made even harder with the many rocks. Arriving in the parking lot, we see a slew of emergency vehicles, fire and paramedics and rescue. We slide by the fire truck and slowly roll past the personnel. We park, get out, and then see the copter in the sky. One person in need of help? Not even close. They were busy today, as we'd soon witness firsthand. Porter and I start our hike, which takes about 2 hours up and back. The helicopter is still hovering near the cave. Maybe we'll get close to it, I say. On the way, we exchange ideas about our fantasy video game. This time, it's about an adventuring reporter. Wonder where he got that idea from. The bad guys of our game are mad scientists and evil politicians, modeled naturally on Fauci and Biden, respectively. About halfway, we see the helicopter airlift someone down. Where they put them, I cannot say exactly, but it does look to be a bit further than our parking lots. There are several parking lots in this park. I begin to wonder aloud how many people had fallen off the mountain today. Getting near to the top, there's an elderly woman sitting on a rock. I think nothing of this, probably just taking a break. We pass her and continue on. We're almost there, about another 10 minutes, rounding a couple curves in the mountain. But then the helicopter appears, coming in over the desert below us. It gets level at our eyes, then goes higher, flying to the right, somewhere near where we were just at. I have to see what's going on, I tell my son, and he agrees, so we start a light jog back around the bends. And as we're moving, we see an orange body being lowered from the helicopter. They drop them off in some bushes, and the orange person climbs up a few feet. We arrive on scene to see about a dozen hikers surrounded at varying distances around the older woman we had just passed earlier. Now I see her leg, which is bloody and swollen. I don't have an x-ray, I overheard the orange man, it was a man, say to her. I have to play reporter. Was it just my lucky day, I ask? This is a dumb way to ask about why there were so many rescues today, because, after all, people were hurt. But then it was kind of exciting for Porter and I. It's definitely not a typical day, the rescue guy shouts back to me. I tell some hikers that, in all my hikes up here, I had never seen a rescue, let alone several consecutively. Apparently, Porter had noticed the blood on the woman's leg, and didn't tell me or say anything about it. Hell, he might make a good reporter too. We're perched on a rock, near another couple. I get my camera out and start filming. A female hiker says, maybe you should just watch it with our eyes and not behind screens. I get the point and tell her that I won't be sharing on social media, only with my family. Her privacy is safe with me, I say, and I'm still holding on to that footage. All the while, the helicopter sits in the nearby sky, just off to the left. It takes about 15 minutes for the man to bandage up her leg. Then he takes out another bag, and out of that, the body harness. Indeed, she will be airlifted. I tell Porter to stay put as I try to find a better angle, which looks to be the larger rock below us. I got down, dodging some shrubs and cacti. I shout to the woman and the emergency man, "Is it okay?" To film, I mean. They look at each other, not knowing what I had said at first, but then the woman gives a nod. The helicopter rises overhead, then drops lower. Expectedly, the chopper blades create havoc, with a whirlwind of dust attacking us all. I put my shirt above my mouth and steady myself on the rock. I don't want to fall off and thus make the rescue man have to leave his current patient so as to take me instead. Then I look up at Porter and to motion for him to put his shirt up also. He looks right at me as I'm making these motions, but doesn't seem to get the hint, as he simply covers his face with his arms. He can't hear me. It's too loud. The one time I want to put a piece of fabric over his face. This frustrates me, but there's nothing more I can do. I'm looking up as the hook is being lowered to our dusty but resilient crew. As it happened, it lands just about 5 feet away from your humble reporter. The emergency man is on his radio, and although I can't hear him, I imagine him saying something like, "Over more, right here, what's wrong with you, can't you see it?" I am at least 20 feet away from the injured party. The hook is so close to me that I could have reached out a few feet and grabbed it, which gives me an idea. Wanting to be a help, I motioned to the emergency man, pointing at myself and then the cable. It was an offer to throw him the hook. The emergency man shakes his head furiously several times. He is in charge here. This is his paycheck, not mine. For his trouble, he loses his footing. He was sitting, and slides a couple feet down the dirt before catching himself. The cable moves closer to him, then gets snagged in a bush. Emergency man stands up and leans into the hill, then walks to the line. He grabs it, at last. While he is hooking the both of them up, I climb back up to Porter, making sure to power through the copter's whirlwind. I'm up, still filming. Porter tells me in my ear that he has dirt in his eye. I tell him in his ear to keep his head down and that it's almost over with. It happens so suddenly. My camera is pointed up at the copter, and before I can even refocus on the couple, they are swished from their position and taken up into the air, just like Batman. We all watch as they fly across the desert, turning into a shadow against the sun. Suddenly, the line fails, and the couple falls to their death. All right, that part didn't happen. Another successful rescue. I washed out Porter's eyes as best I could with a water bottle. We made it to the cave. More people, very busy. One gentleman said that these operations cost about $6,000 a person, and that insurance usually doesn't pick it up. Oh boy. On the way down, someone told me that there was a total of 4 rescues. How very exciting. That was from February.